So this is the BMG update number 5, and in this update, I'm going to be answering a couple of questions that have come to the surface about how people can join the BMG on Saturday, the 31st of August. I'm going to be addressing a couple of questions. How many people are we going to accept? Now, this has been a hanging question, and I'm going to address it in this update. How can you pay to join? And a couple of other questions that we have had. In a previous update, I told you what the cost of joining the BMG is. This cost came from all the applicants, and I showed you how we arrived at the price. 37,500 naira per month, or the equivalent in US dollars, which will likely be $38 or so, right? So we have that is the membership fee. That is the commitment cost to join the BMG per month. And so that's it for cost. Another question is, when will be the next opportunity to join the BMG? If you miss the opportunity to join the BMG in August of 2024, the next entry will likely be in the second quarter of 2025. So second quarter starts April. So as from April next year, that's when we're going to open the doors to the BMG. So that is one way of joining the BMG. In fact, that is the main way of joining the BMG in April and August. Those are the two main ways when we accept a large number of people into the BMG. The second way to get into the BMG is when we have vacant seats, or if somebody leaves the BMG for whatever reason. People will have all sorts of reasons for leaving the BMG, as they have to join the BMG. So, for example, somebody may feel that they can't pay anymore, or they've learned what they came for, right? We're not going to hold anybody back. But what that does is that it frees up a space for somebody who wants to come into the BMG to join. So at the end of every month, we're going to run an inventory, a strength of our members, and the number of seats that are vacant will be replaced from the waiting room. So that is exactly how the numbers in the BMG will be replenished. It's either you join at the end of every month, which is based on the availability of vacant seats, or you wait for the main enrollment periods, right, which are usually in April and August of the year. So the next enrollment will likely be April 2025. And before then, the only way to join the BMG will be if you are one of the lucky people who are able to take up vacant seats, right, in the BMG. Now, in terms of the capacity for the BMG, right, for this enrollment season, about 600 and something people applied to join the BMG. That is far more than we expected. And despite our best efforts to screen them, the number of people who were able to come through the screening was 500 and something, which is still a large number. Why? Because the capacity we can accommodate in the BMG is 120. So we only have seats for 120 people. And the question will come, John Paul, what if other people want to join? Why can't I raise it above 120? My focus for the BMG is quality. I want to make sure that anybody who gets in there gets the quality and the value that is promised. So my goal is not quantity, because, okay, so I stretched this thing from 90 to 100. Now we're at 120, and I'm like, no. So even when my people are doing it, like, people are asking, I'm like, you have to stand for something in business. You have to choose what you are for. Are you for quantity or are you for quality? I am for quality. And my maximum for this season, except we are able to grow our capacity, hopefully by the next enrollment season, our capacity for August 2024 is 120 people. That is the maximum number we can accept. If we don't get up to 120, we close the doors. If we get 120, we close the doors. If we get more than 120, we can only accept 120 people into the BMG, and we close the door. So that is exactly the commitment. How can one pay to join the BMG? So it's very straightforward. By 12 p.m. on the 31st of August, which is this Saturday, the link to pay for the BMG will be pasted in the waiting room. So it will be pasted here, right? So everybody will have the same chance, and it will be on a first come, first serve basis, right? So, or what do they call it? A fastest finger first, or what is that? I think, but bottom line is first come, first serve, because everybody in the waiting room is qualified to join the BMG. So I don't have any other way of choosing 120 people, but to just, let the best man, let the best woman win. I'll put the link there. The first 120 people who get into the BMG, those are the people that we're going to take into the program. Another question we got is, what if you come into the BMG and you leave? Can you come back? So seats are available on first come, first serve. So if you join the BMG and for whatever reason you have to leave, if you're leaving, you're going back to the waiting room. And your coming back is not automatic, because I can't just ask somebody to give up their seat because you joined the BMG earlier than they joined. No, it's a merit-based system and it's based on availability. So if you leave the BMG, you come back to the waiting room, the next time you'll be able to get back into the BMG is either during the major enrollment season in April or August, or you are lucky enough and there's a vacant spot that opens at the end of the month and you're able to come in. So those are the only ways you can. What other question do we have here? What if you don't make it into the BMG? I believe I've made that point very clear. The waiting room is not just for waiting. There are special privileges of being in the waiting room, of which the major one is the business clinic. I run a free business clinic, a free consultation for people in the waiting room once every month. And I address the questions that they have. You can ask me any question, but just once a month. And that is exclusive to people in the waiting room. You can invite people from outside the waiting room, the public, everybody, because we'll have it on YouTube Live. The public can attend, but only people in the waiting room can ask questions that will feature on my business clinic, because they are my core audience. So the audience can watch, people can watch on YouTube, YouTube Live, but the only people who can ask me questions must be somebody, it has to be somebody who is inside the waiting room. And that's an exclusive privilege of being in the waiting room. It's more or less my own way of compensating you for being patient and waiting until a spot opens up for you in the main BMG program. So I guess, is there any question I haven't addressed? When and how can I make payments? I've answered that. What if I don't make it into the BMG? I've answered that. Can I leave the BMG and return later? I've answered that. When is the next opportunity to join the BMG? I've answered that. How many spots are available in the BMG? It's 120. I've answered. It's a painful decision, but in business, you are as much for what you stand for. You're as much as for what you stand for than what you don't stand for. So if you keep expanding, you're going to compromise quality just because you want to satisfy, you want to take on everybody. So I would rather defend the quality of the BMG and make a couple of people disappointed, right? But I'll maintain that quality so that when you do finally get in, you'll be grateful that I defended that quality, instead of satisfying everybody and say, you've waited for quite some time, I don't want to disappoint you, let's just take everybody. No, I am insisting that the quality has to be preserved. And my maximum for now is 120. It may increase in the future, but for August 2024, what I can guarantee is the quality of service for 120 people in the BMG. And like I said, the link to book your spots in the BMG will be posted in the waiting room. My next update, which will be my last update before the BMG launches, will be to show you how to actually pay to join the BMG. How to actually pay to join the BMG. I'm going to do like a screen share, what the interface looks like, what the checkout looks like, what you're going to see after you pay and things like that. So look out for that last and final updates that will happen. I'll send that in tomorrow, Friday, the 30th of August. And then after that update, we're going to have a question and answer session. So if there's any question or anything you want to ask about the BMG that I've not addressed in any of my updates, maybe there's just something we've missed, we're going to have a question and answer session tomorrow, Friday, the 30th, 24 hours before the BMG opens, so that I make sure we're able to address any questions that you have. So I'm looking forward to it. I remember when this countdown started, from 30 days more, 29 days, all of that. And then now we're just a couple of hours to the launch of the BMG. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much for your patience. And I'm really looking forward to delivering the value that I promised for those people who are lucky enough to get into the BMG. Cheers.